Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Nadia Holtz. It's Wednesday, September 24th, and today we will be covering the top 3 teams in the Western Conference in the NBA. To examine these teams with us today is professional handicapper Dave Golokoff. Dave, preseason basketball is upon us. How does the Western Conference look right now in terms of the NBA odds?
Well, I think everybody knows that the Western Conference is where it's at. It's pretty much the toughest conference by far. The Eastern Conference is Cleveland or Chicago. Western Conference, there's, 6, 7 teams that could come out of there. So it's definitely the stronger of the two conferences.
Yeah, definitely. In the big picture, it's very hard to go against San Antonio Spurs in the West. They are favored to win at plus 250. Do you think the Spurs can beat Oklahoma City Thunder even with Russell Westbrook healthy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've seen them do it before. There's some interesting things going on with Oklahoma City right now. They didn't perform that great in the postseason last year, even with a healthy Westbrook. San Antonio really elevated their game in the Western Conference playoffs. So I think there's some real concern whether this Oklahoma City Thunder team is championship worthy. I think we've made the assumption many times that Westbrook Durant equals a title, but clearly they're a step behind the Spurs here. The Spurs just have better chemistry. They have more depth, which I think is key. And this is a team that focuses better in the regular season, which usually, as it did last year, translates into home court advantage in the playoffs. I think that carries over into this year. I think all those things are true, and the Thunder are going to have to overcome some kind of a hurdle to knock off the Spurs.
Oklahoma City Thunder is at plus 300 to win the West. This team is definitely under a lot of pressure to beat the Spurs. They will have that added motivation. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think pressure is a very good word to put it. I mean, again, there's just been this assumption that you got the MVP in Durant. You've got Russell Westbrook. Serge Ibaka's decent on the inside. How come this team doesn't have a title? How come this older Spurs team can beat them? And even a concern last year is that this sort of up-and-coming Clippers team that's obviously now arrived is able to top them. So I think there's some concerns. You take a look at the Spurs-Thunder series in the regular season and you say Oklahoma City should definitely dominate, but there's a long way to go for this Thunder team to get over this hump that they seemingly just can't get over. How far do they go? Well, I think they're capable of winning a title, but something's going to have to change. Chemistry just has to get a little bit better. This team, I don't want to make it sound like they're so far off, but when you talk about all the teams in the Western Conference, the difference between first to sixth is so small, and the Thunder just haven't had it together these last couple of years. So I don't think they have it together just yet. We have to see that change in the regular season before you can really make that futures bet.
Okay, sounds fair enough. And last but not least, the Los Angeles Clippers are at plus 500 to win the West. And this is another team that should have added motivation to start fresh without Donald Sterling. What's your projection for this team?
Yeah, I would be very careful, with the Clippers. I think that, very careful. The other teams in the Western Conference, I think this is actually the value play as far as bettors should be concerned. You get them at 5-1 to win the conference. This is a team that went through a lot of transition last year. Doc Rivers comes over, a lot of pieces coming over. They transitioned. They went from sort of a good team to now a championship contender, and beating the Thunder, showing their mettle in that series is exactly why I like the Clippers here. I think they're only going to get better. I really do. It's a young team. They figured out their roles now. They took a number of big steps forward last year. They were distracted with the Donald Sterling. They understand what Doc Rivers wants of them now. They've added a couple more of what they would probably say is the final pieces to the puzzle. And now that Sterling's gone and Ballmer's there's just a lot of optimism around this team. And I think they're elite. I think they're complete. I think they have more depth than the Thunder. I think they have the best point guard in the Western Conference, probably the best power forward as well. I think you're getting some decent value with this team at 5-1. I think the Thunder don't match up very well with them, and I think the Spurs, they're a little bit older and they're coming off a title win, so they might not be as hungry. I think you get the hungriest team and maybe the most talented here at 5-1.
Okay, excellent. So you would say that they will be in second place instead of the Spurs, is that correct?
Well, I think the Clippers are the best value play. I mean, right now I've still got it Spurs, Thunder, and Clippers. But I think in the regular season, but come playoff time, I think that the Clippers are the ones that are going to probably survive the Western Conference and go to the finals.
Okay, fair enough. Dave, thanks so much. We really appreciate your feedback. Have a good rest of the day.
Okay.
For SBR Picks, this is Nadia Holtz.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.